Hello and welcome to another episode. In this episode, we'll be looking at the argumentative style of writing and how we can achieve the best kind of essay we can. Let's start by looking at our writing rubrics. When it comes to answering the essay questions, it's important to understand that you need to work on your outline. Your outline is around 20 marks, so you need to include the ideas mentioned in your outline in your essay. Otherwise, some marks will be deducted. Remember, you should focus on the exposition of ideas and coherence, which means you need to read the question and answer what's required. It's very important to read the question and see what they're asking you for. Then you can expose your ideas, write them down, and make sure that they all fit together. And this is what we're going to be tackling in this episode. Remember, you're going to be assessed for the number of paragraphs, number of sentences, and how they fit. Remember, your paragraphs should be a minimum of 4 because you're going to have an introduction, body 1, body 2, and a conclusion. Again, you'll be assessed for spelling and grammar. Another main part of your assessment will be on your handwriting and the presentation of your work. Remember, clear and clean handwriting will show and reflect that you are a good writer and that you took some time to work hard on your essay. And this is what we want. Off-topic essays will get 0 because that means you did not read the question and you didn't understand what they're asking for. So let's look at the form of an argumentative essay. When it comes to the argumentative essay, we always start with our introduction. In our introduction, we have our hook and our claim. The claim is what we chose to write about, either the arguments for or against, including our opinion. We then have our first body, where we are going to reflect on the claim and add reasons, explanations, and examples. In body 2, viewing the other side, the counterclaim, the opposing view, will be offering their explanations and examples, and we'll be adding a rebuttal, which is the way where we refute what they say. Finally, we have our conclusion. And in our conclusion, we have one of two options. We either summarize the whole essay, body 1 and body 2, or we can paraphrase the introduction. So let's get started. Remember, writing is a process, so you need to follow a number of steps in order to reach the final part of your essay. We always start with brainstorming. So when we brainstorm, we gather our ideas. Then we move on to the next step, which is drafting, writing the rough copy of the essay. After that, we'll move on to revising, to check the information and the ideas presented. We move on to editing, where we can edit our work for grammar, spelling, and so on. And finally, it's ready to be published. So let's get started. Here's your question. Due to overpopulation, many countries are considering creating farm, land, housing, resorts, and even shopping centers through the process of land reclamation. Some people are in favor of land reclamation, while others are against it. So we have topic here is land reclamation. Are you with it or against it? Let's look at the task. What we just read is the opener to the question. They're introducing you to the question. In not less than 14 sentences, around 160 words, plan and write an essay stating the arguments for and against land reclamation and presenting your opinion on the topic. So let's get started. This is a sample of what your essay should look like, but we'll get there. Let's look at the process that we use to reach the final product. First of all, we start with brainstorming. Gather your ideas. What do you know about land reclamation? What are you going to write? Then you organize your ideas into sequence. So let's start brainstorming. The first thing you need to do is to ask yourself, what is my opinion on the topic? What do I think? We're talking about land reclamation. Am I with or against? What's my claim? And when I decide what my opinion and am I with or against, I'll start writing. For example, in this situation, I'm going to be saying, in my opinion, using land reclamation is a bad idea for multiple reasons. And write down a reason and examples, reason and examples. Excellent. After you write your claim, you think, okay, what am I going to do now? Is there a rebuttal? A rebuttal is how you answer the other side. But before you answer the other side, you need to think, what's the counterclaim? The counterclaim is based on your opinion. Because we decided we're against land reclamation, the counterclaim would be people that think land reclamation is a good idea. So we'll say some people believe using land reclamation is a good idea for many reasons, and list those reasons down. Now, once you've had that, you can write your rebuttal. And your rebuttal is the counterclaim and your opinion on that. So let's see what we can say. Using land reclamation gives people land to live on. This is what other people think. That's not our opinion. So how would we respond to that? We can say, but in return, takes away the homes of animals living there. So remember, whenever you're writing the other point of view, you write down what they think and you reply to them with your opinion. Excellent. These are connectors that you can use to add more ideas. If you're going to add more ideas, you can use moreover in addition to add to that. If you're talking about the opposing view or another point of view, you can use on the other hand, however, or but. These will come in handy when it's time to write your essay. Now, we've come up with our ideas. Let's put them down in our outline. So you start with your introduction, and we said we add our hook and our claim. And our claim here is using land reclamation is a bad idea. We then move on to body 1. We're going to be using that claim and provide you with evidence. So we can say, using land reclamation is a bad idea. People take land away from animals. This is my reason. That's why I think it's a bad idea. Then we move on to body 2. And we write the counterclaim, which is the opposing view. And again, you can use on the other hand, some people may think, and add your idea. Let's look at the other idea, and we've already discussed this when we wrote our rebuttal. Building on wetlands gives people land to live on, but in return takes away the homes of animals living there. And we're going to be building on that idea for body 2. Finally, we reach our conclusion where we can restate our claim and paraphrase the introduction. You can also summarize body 1 and body 2, but for the sake of this episode, we decided to go with paraphrasing the introduction. Excellent. Now that we have our outline, all we have to do is use it to start arranging our paragraphs and write our essay. This is how the first draft of your essay should look like. You should have at least 4 paragraphs because we have an introduction, body 1 with our opinion, body 2, and our conclusion. Remember, all your paragraphs need to be indented. So you need to indent the paragraph and make a space, the first sentence of each paragraph. This is an indicator that this is a new paragraph. Excellent. Once you have that, we start the revising process. And when we revise, we talk about arms. What do I mean by arms? We mean what? Let's check your understanding. Now, we've already taken a couple of writing episodes, so you should know what to do. Arms stands for adding words. Excellent. So we add words. We remove unnecessary words. And what do we do with sentences? We can move sentences around, or we can substitute a sentence or word for another. So let's look at our essay. We have our first paragraph, and it's good. We need to indent the first paragraph, however, the first sentence of the paragraph. Remember, this is a really important part of writing. Let's look at body 1. I've highlighted some words for you. Land reclamation can be very harmful to the ecosystem. Land reclamation threatens habitats for birds and animals. Also, land reclamation affects the balance of the ecosystem of the world. What do you notice here? I'm repeating myself. Is it good to repeat? Not really. So remove these words. They're unnecessary. And substitute them with something else. So we can say, land reclamation can be harmful to the ecosystem. It threatens the habitat for birds and animals. Also, it can affect the balance of the ecosystem. Here, you can notice that we didn't repeat ourselves. After you've done that for the whole essay, so you need to look at each paragraph. Paragraph 1, does it have the same idea? Do I need to move things around, substitute? You need to do it for the whole thing. Then you can move on to your editing. And when we edit, we use our caps, which means what? What does that mean? It means you capitalize sentences. So you capitalize the beginning of a sentence. You capitalize names, places, months, and of course, titles. And obviously, after a full stop. You can also check the usage. So, for example, are you using nouns correctly? Are you using verbs correctly? Are they all in the proper tense? Then you check your punctuation. Am I using my commas, my full stops, and so on? And finally, you check your spelling. Just a quick reminder, when we capitalize names, months, days of the week, at the beginning of a sentence and after a full stop. Let's look at commas and see if you remember. When do we use them? We use it to separate a list of 3 things or more, to separate an introductory word from the rest of the sentence, and after combining words like but, for, nor, yet, nor, and so. All of those. Excellent. So let's look at our essay and try to spot the mistakes. Here we have a paragraph. Can you spot the mistake? I've already highlighted it for you. What do you think? Land reclamation can be very harmful to the ecosystem. It threatens the natural habitat. What do you notice here? It threatens. When we're talking about, when we say it, what do we need to add? Look at the tense. It threatens, so we need to add an S here. Excellent. Let's look at the rest. Also, this activity affects the balance of the ecosystem of the world. What do you notice about the word also? What kind of word is it? Excellent. What do we need to add after it? We need to add a comma. Excellent. Because it's an introductory word. Also, comma, this activity affects the balance of the ecosystem. Let's look at another example. We have here, encroaching the order of the nature that Allah created. Now, moreover, comma, encroaching. What do you notice? We have an introductory word followed by a comma and then a word with a capital letter. What do you notice? And again, we have it again here. Finally, comma, wetlands. What should it be? Should it be capitalized or should it be in a small case letter? Excellent. Because it's not in the beginning of a sentence, it's not a name, it's not a title, it needs to be a regular or a small case letter. So we'll change that to a small case. We'll remove the capitalization. Once you've done that, your essay is ready to be published. So it should look something like this. You should have 4 paragraphs. Each paragraph should be indented. You've already checked the content of your essay. You've checked the ideas, the repetition, you've added, moved words around, and so on. And you've checked the punctuation, the spelling, and everything. And your essay is ready to be published. This brings us to the end of our episode. In this episode, we looked at the argumentative style of writing. We looked at how to create a perfect outline, how to have an introduction, body 1, body 2, and conclusion, how to write a claim, counterclaim, and rebuttal, and to revise and edit our work. Thank you for watching.